Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content. And the Wade and Carter Show bears no responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show. Now, before we do this, let's go play radio.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Just wake, make sure
That was
you're
good. No, that was good. We're off to a rowdy
We
start.
are. Morning, everybody on Facebook. Morning, everybody on YouTube. Let's do this.
Wade and Carter weather, proud to present it from Victoria, Texas. 73 degrees in our lovely city with a high today of 93. Going to be sunny. It's a little cloudy right now. See right there? ...
Yep.
Orange, all day till 8 o'clock tonight. Sunny.
Sunny till 8.
Sunny at 93. 93 coming off a 73-degree morning is not as brutally hot as we think of in the summers. It's
No,
not
when it goes
as
to
bad.
99 from 80.
Or when you wake up and it's 87 at 6 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning.
No, that's, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're
It's
talking about. We're only a few
bad.
weeks away from that. Patrick Strauss checking in.
It may not happen.
Bobby Leister, good morning. David Rice. David Glass. H.R. Mallory. Chris Conrad, good morning to you.
My mother said the other day that she expected it to be a hot summer, and she's old enough that she's kind of like the Farmer's Almanac.
See, but the Farmer's Almanac is predicting cool and wet for this region.
Really?
Yes.
I'd like cool and wet.
We need wet. I like heat, but we could use some wet.
If
dry.
if it rains a lot, would we just by definition be speaking moistly?
We
What
might
would-
be.
What would Mr. Trudeau say? Wear your mask if you're speaking moistly.
I think he's okay, though. I think they're actually looking, I think it's going to be a little bit hotter through there.
Did that song get some
Canada.
play in Canada?
I don't know, honestly. I
It was
don't. I'd have to
so-
ask Pete Montana.
So
It was
funny. Is
it
Pete
was.
in this morning?
I haven't seen him yet, but it was pretty funny. Certainly wouldn't be played on the GOAT where he is, but might have got some play
He's
somewhere.
a classic rock
Yeah,
guy, isn't he?
yeah. Randy Langston, good morning. Sheriff Louderback.
Hi, Sheriff.
Judge Posey. Stephen Kidder, good morning. C.W. Bean. Carla Bennett checking in from the YYC. She might know. Did the Speaking Moistly YouTube song get any legitimate airplay, Carla, in Canada? Maybe not in Calgary because it's the Prime Minister and they don't like him up there.
Right. No, but it's not like the song is flattering.
Well, no, that's true.
It's kind of
Larry Leahy.
sarcastic.
Bobby Leister says we're up to 42 YouTube subscribers. We appreciate you keeping tabs on that.
That's Bobby Leister, the official statistician.
Yep.
And when we need our analytics reported, he'll be the guy that sends them over to JP Hull.
Toya Stone, belated birthday wishes to Toya.
Hello, Toya. Happy birthday.
Andy Ria Jr.,
Look
Don
at
Nicole
T-Lab.
checking in, Matt
That's sweetheart.
O'Shea, Marvin Mickish, BJ Nelson, good morning, Jim Hartman, Christina Wise.
We've got a note into J.R. Hartman following up on their big weekend, hoping to get a report back.
Chris Conrad says, wear your mask, I'm taking your guns. Justin
Right.
Trudeau. Scott Snow checking in. Let's see who else is in this morning. Check here. Johnny Hodden, had a good chat with Johnny Hodden, old high school friend.
You know,
Talking about that over the weekend. Clint Ives, good morning. Rena Scherer, Monica Jost. I think we pretty much got everybody. Let's quickly check the YouTube. See if anybody's checking on the YouTube.
Steve Kidder over the weekend posted a video of Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy interviewing Peyton Manning. And trying to understand the mind, it's like it's kind of like when you have an ex and you're trying to apply logic to the reason they do things and you can't because logic doesn't apply or they probably wouldn't be an ex. Ron Burgundy, trying to understand the mind of Will Ferrell is just folly. You can't do it.
No.
But I finally got to the point. He did an interview with Peyton Manning that was about 7 minutes, and I watched about 4 of it. It's all I could do. I finally had to turn it off. But Peyton Manning is a comedic genius. He's a genius guy. so funny. Like when you watch those commercials with him and Brad Paisley, I've literally watched Brad Paisley evolve during those commercials where initially Paisley was just being Brad Paisley.
The straight man in a way.
Peyton was playing off of him. And now as the commercials have evolved, Brad Paisley has become more interactive with Peyton. It's cool to watch. And it's Peyton Manning's gift of humor that is really uncanny. I mean, he's really, really, because it's all so play. It'd be like having, Sean Connery play a bumbling bank robber. It's like everything is against stereotype. Yeah. It's like Peter Graves in Airplane. That's who Peyton Manning
cast against type.
Yeah, absolutely. Peyton Manning, his life is cast against type because he came off on the football field as so intense, so
serious,
consummate professional. Never. The only time he ever got upset was when it wasn't Janikowski. They had that Vanderjagt, and he said, Canadian. "Well, we're doing fine till that idiot kicker said something or whatever, and Peyton just called him out. The next year, of course, the kicker was gone. Yeah. Peyton Manning said, "I don't like that guy. He's out of here."
Wow, it's a bunch of BS anyway.
Yeah. But I don't remember what happened, but I remember
Peyton provided some locker room talk.
I was like, wow, I can't believe Peyton Manning said that.
All right, a lot checking in. Keevan Myers, good morning. James Kurth, Joe Gomez. Randy Langston had a question. What does everyone think of the Bitcoin craze? Seeing it in the news once again, and I believe what's happening, and I don't understand Bitcoin enough. I know it's a cryptocurrency and all that. It's worth about $8,700 US for one Bitcoin. So, it's I struggle with this because it's almost like the .com craze of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
There's no tangible assets backing up
the Bitcoin. It's like the United States dollar.
Yeah,
it's much like
very much
your COVID stimulus package.
Worth a little bit more. But that was the problem with the .com craze. All those .com companies that were overvalued and overinflated and worth, hundreds of dollars a share that went from nothing. There was nothing to solidify that base of $100.
None of them ever turned a profit.
No.
They didn't turn a profit, Ash. It was always betting on the come, and it
never came.
No, none of those things ever made a profit.
No, well, a few did and struggled. I mean, Yahoo, and look where it ended up. But from what I understand, Bitcoin is going to have, which I'm assuming is kind of like a stock split. So if you have two Bitcoin,
you'll have
worth 8,700. So what does that put you at? 17,400. You'll have 4 Bitcoins
at 4,500 to throw.
Yeah, at the same, same value. I think that's what that's what I understand. Instead of calling it a split, they're calling it a halving. HALVING.
There is a way that people mine for Bitcoins, and it's something to do with an algorithm. And what the problem is that you get them through algorithms on your computer, and apparently it costs lots and lots and lots of electricity. It requires lots of energy to do all the computations they want done to create the Bitcoin. I don't get it. What did CW Beans?
CW Beans says Pet Rocks made a profit.
There you go.
I mean, you could hold those in your hand. They were tangible.
It was a tangible Chia Pets. The Barack Obama Chia Pet was real.
Randy says miners' rewards get split from 24 to 12 per block mined.
See, I mean,
how the hell do you mine something that doesn't exist?
I can't speak the lingo. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, see, so we're not even bothered.
Here's my deal. If tomorrow somebody gave me a Bitcoin, I would sell it for the 8,600.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'll take it before it crashes.
You know what? If it was given to me, I might hold on to it and see where it plays out. To be honest,
they had a deal. I saw.
But nobody's giving me. Someone give me a Bitcoin. Let's give me a Bitcoin. Give Brent a Bitcoin.
Right.
Brent can sell his Bitcoin now for the 8,700. I will hold on to mine, and then in 10 to 15 years from now, we'll see who's further ahead.
You know who did that for real?
Who?
1981. Julius Erving Dr. J, several of you may remember, Dr. J and Larry Bird were each offered $25,000 cash or $25,000 worth of EA Sports stock to be on the cover of a one-on-one basketball game.
I remember that one-on-one Bird versus Dr. J game that was on the original computers. That was, you still used a joystick or your keyboard.
And the little dude jumped. Now, Bird.
And it was terrible when you look back, but boy, that was a groundbreaking game.
Bird took the 25 grand. Dr. J took the stock.
Who's doing better today?
Apparently, Dr. J's stock is worth a little over 5.1 million.
Probably so.
And Bird's 25 grand has long ago been spent, although neither has money problems.
No.
That's not the point. And I'm sure Larry Bird has a diversified stock portfolio. But at that time, Dr. J said, I'll take the stock.
Well, but you know what? At that time, 25 grand. I mean, these guys were each making well over $1 million a year at that time. 25 grand was huge money.
For Larry, that was a new riding lawnmower because he loved to mow yards.
Might have got him a DeLorean.
That's true story. There was a guy, I watched a deal on TV one time, and this guy was from French Lick, Indiana. And Larry Bird was obviously NBA royalty, but he was a multi-time All-Star, multi-time world champion. And the son asked his mom, do you need to come home this weekend? Is it time for me to mow the yard? And she said, oh, no. And she knew the first name. You know, Wilma Bird's young son, Larry, came down and did it for me. This is 6'9" NBA megastar Larry Bird. Came down the street and just knocked out the lady's yard. Can you imagine Larry Bird at 6'9", about 250?
His knees are not long anymore. His knees are at his chin.
Just knocked it out. Just looks like Forrest Gump driving down through French Lick, Indiana on a riding lawnmower.
Good for him. Stayed humble.
Awesome. Oh, no doubt.
Tom Price checking in. Kelly Fromme. There's my beautiful wife, Cheryl. Good morning. So, I don't know. They're saying that the price drop will be temporary. So I don't know. I don't have any
as
Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin people take a little.
Yeah, I mean, who take over our show?
And they get a little bit of a little rake. They get a little rake for doing it.
Oh man,
I don't understand. I know that there are. It is the currency of choice among some of the super elite. There are some folks that, like Drake or somebody, I remember reading about it. They had Bitcoin.
Randy Langston says a few months after the last halving, it went to 20,000 a coin. So it's dropped considerably since then. It's only at 8,700 this morning, from what I saw.
I still don't understand. But along those same lines of like fake money and things that have no tangible value, Mayor de Blasio is saying that in New York, that they've got to have, we just simply have to have more government stimulus money, or the city of New York is going to go broke. So he's shamelessly begging the federal government to print more fictitious currency.
My question is, what have you done with all the money that your three taxing entities managed to grab off everybody? Because not only do you have a state tax, not only do you have federal tax, you've got borough taxes in all of New York.
Yeah, the local tax base is immense. It's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I just looked up
taxes, it's ridiculous up there. There's the Iceman checking in. Tom Price, good morning.
I just looked up there at the screen. You know, the screen is frozen in time.
It is. I don't know what's going on.
I tell you who's mobile right now, ready to serve you. That's Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's will come out and give you a go-to tow-to. Where do you need to go? We'll get you there. Everything from a flatbed trailer just to pick up a vehicle. They don't just, it's not old school. They don't just throw a hook on your $80,000 Escalade and drag you around the streets of Victoria. Can you imagine sparks coming off the back of your Cadillac?
One of our listeners called them up over the weekend.
Who did?
Kenneth Sexton.
Keno needed it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He had a truck problem. They'll put it right up on a flatbed and get it where you need it to go. Allen's Wrecker Service, serving this community. I drove by yesterday. They have a beautiful new lot and building right on the main drag 77 in Refugio. They were spending so much time down there dealing with big trucks. They decided we just simply have to put a yard down here. So 578-6300. Reach out to the VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. You can now probably go back into the AT&T store.
But I think they're still providing curbside if you wish.
There you go. They're there to serve you. Glad to do it. Whether you need an iPhone 11, if you need an iPad, any type of device, Samsung units, they've got other brands of telecommunications equipment. They'll do all of your surround sound in your home, surveillance, fire suppression. They do big jobs. They do all the speakers and wiring in schools and gymnasiums. They do it all. The VCS companies are simply the gold standard of service and quality in our community, and that's why they are our banner sponsor.
SCD Building Systems. Give Clayton and Casey Helt a call, 564-8864, from anything you need, from traditional bricks and sticks construction all the way to metal buildings, insulated concrete forms. They can do it all. They'll sit down with you and decide which is best for your needs, your wants, and your budget.
There you go. Call them 564-8864. And one last one for this morning, Chesnick Furniture Company. For those of you folks listening internationally, we know that the U.S. isn't a very old country, but in our little town, we have one furniture family has been here since 1920. For 100 years in our city, Chesnick Furniture Company has been providing Victorians everything from furniture, sofas, love seats, chairs, to bedding. They have Tempur-Pedic bedding. They've got all kinds of appliances.
Accoutrement.
There, I love it when you talk French and you know it, Vixen, on a Monday. Give them a call, 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge in beautiful, sunny downtown Victoria.
Oh, like a Joe Mitchell bragging.
He knocked out 4 1/4.
Well, or did he run it in 4 1/4?
I don't
Either
know.
way, that's impressive.
Very fast. Very fast.
He ran either a 4.25 mile or 4.25 miles.
Wow. I'm going to bet he ran 4 1/4 miles, not a 4-minute mile.
He runs a 4.25 mile.
He may be a 2-minute man, but he's not a 4-minute miler.
There you go.
There you have it. 17 after the hour.
There's Marty Stockmeyer checking in. Good morning to you, Marty.
Hello, Marty. You're nowhere near late for work. It's only 17 after the hour.
So the world started reopening. Well, at least Texas did. Other parts of the U.S. Although Mississippi's governor put the brakes on Friday after a spike of cases and some deaths in Mississippi, and he pulled the reins back a little bit and woed the horses. But I found it rather interesting, and you have to wonder, and I don't blame the media. The media wasn't sitting on this information, right?
Well, okay.
Because it was
Trump.
Because
Trump's fault.
Because it was released on Friday.
Right.
But the major media certainly didn't do, when they were reporting, oh, there's thousands more cases in Florida as the state begins to reopen. They didn't quite explain that the lag in tests and the lag in results purely, and it makes you wonder, were there political motivations to do a bunch of testing 5 to 8 days before the reopening so that these numbers could be released when they get their test results in to correlate with the reopening of certain states? It makes you wonder, with how politicized this whole thing has become, if there wasn't some tactics and strategy behind all this, because you can't just test and then bing, here's your result.
I could be less cynical, Mr. Apocalypse, and I could say this, like they talk about letting no good catastrophe, go to waste.
Yeah.
The timing, the ability to pull that information together and kind of sabotage this reopening is absolutely the work of the left. And the work of the left, their main tool is the mainstream media. There's our friend Jim Simpson checking in. Jimmy, hope you're doing good.
Michael Jolly, good morning. But it was interesting that there was on most of the major media sources that I saw with these stories, they made no effort to even put a line at the bottom. Well, there's an 8-day test result delay in state X or state
because
Y.
That
right?
doesn't create hysteria, and the media wants hysteria and panic and recession. They want movement. They want volatility is the word. The media wants volatility. Uncertainty drives media sources.
And you saw it with pictures on the web of Texas beaches being reopened, and
There's too many people
too
at
many
the
people on the
beach.
But
Were
you know,
you there?
no, I didn't go to the beach. But you know what was interesting? But looking at the pictures, I zoomed in a little bit, and then you could see a group of people here, and a group of people here, and people sitting in the water,
Right.
and some people over here, and not knowing anything about them, kind of looked like family units.
Yeah, who cares?
Stuck
right?
together in their own little area, and people away from them in their own little, I mean, it might have been a lot of people on the beach, but it looked like there was space between them all as well.
Come on, people.
You know?
No, but the funny thing is, the majority of the people that were raising Cain about people being on the beach weren't at the beach.
No. And here's the thing: if you know somebody that was at the beach and you want to maintain your social distance from them, go ahead and do that. Don't invite them over for coffee. Don't go talk to them.
I think we're also seeing. I saw a disturbing, and it's not something I don't make a joke out of this, but it was disturbing. A commercial or a public service announcement yesterday, and it starts out where you're
Puppies
close.
in a Sarah McLachlan song?
No, in the arms of a stranger. No, you're up close, and it's obviously a man's hands, and he's washing his hands, and and it says during these times of COVID. And I thought this is a commercial about washing your hands. So this guy's washing his hands, and the camera starts to pan back, and in the background, behind the man on the floor, you see 2 feet laying on their side. And it's a commercial about during this time of people being quarantined, family violence has severely increased. And it said, if you hear, of course, this is, I'm assuming, more in an urban area where you've got neighbors' walls. If you hear violence in the home next door, make sure you contact authorities, which I get kind of, yes, you should. You know, if you're somebody slapping their wife around, you should call the police, or especially if you're a woman slapping a man around. But the reality was that it was just a really stark, unsettling commercial of finally one of the feet kind of moved, you know, and I'm like, so this guy like beat her up and then went and washed his hands. You know, I was like, that's terrible. It was terrible. But what I'm saying is the commercials are getting more and more edgy. You know, it's like kind of like graphic. So,
and there are reports that this is happening, but you can see just as many reports that it's not. I don't know. I'd like to know. Sheriff Louderback would know if he's seen the trends and the data that would support this.
Yeah.
Or that it might not be being reported as much. I've seen a bunch of stories related to this, that it's going to go up, and
no excuse
because people are at home.
But, there's no excuse for a man hitting a woman ever, and we don't make light of that. There's no humor in that for me. I was just saying that the commercial kind of, whoa, that's a different turn than I was expecting that commercial to take. Yeah. But we have become a society, haven't we, Ash, of if you see it, say something. Report. Oh, there's too many people at the beach. Oh, I think Billy punched his wife. Oh, there's people over at so-and-so's house, and they don't
Billy punching his wife probably needs to be said. Yeah.
Absolutely.
A bunch of people at the beach doesn't need to be reported.
And, they had more than 10 people at their home. If you'd have gotten invited, you'd have gone.
Yeah.
You know, some of that stuff.
You didn't get the invite.
You didn't get the 411.
No.
You didn't get the dial up. Unbelievable.
No, that's exactly probably what happened. So the state starts reopening. Saturday morning, went down to the Victoria Farmers Market, and we got there
was
10:30, 11. Meredith was there. Yeah.
How did that go? How was that?
Sold out of everything. Man, they sold out of stuff fast. We got there about 10:30, 11, and it was already, most of the stuff was already gone.
We got there the old crack at 11.
Yeah,
huh?
We were able to grab some beets and carrots, and that was about it this weekend. But it was good. What's BJ Nelson? Why does it have to get the authorities involved? Go check on your neighbor. Care.
Yeah, and that is something too. And I have the answer for that, actually. I know why that doesn't happen. There was a day, and I think COVID has helped in this regard, where people are out front, they're in the yard, they see their neighbors. People don't feel like they know their neighbors well enough. If If I lived next door to Ash and I heard crash, bang, boom, I would run over there without expecting to find Cheryl standing over him with a candelabra. I would expect that something bad happened, so you just go to check on your
Something
friends.
bad. So if Cheryl's standing over me with a candelabra, that's not bad.
No, you probably had it coming.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this, tell me this, you ain't taking a poke at her. She'd drop you like a bad habit.
Interestingly enough, she did get a bunch of brass candle holders in the other day.
Interesting. Those are now in the repertoire of Gray Barn Design.
The Ninja.
Wow. Yeah.
Lisa Poole, good morning. So a lot of people up in arms over VISD canceling graduation ceremonies, and they're pointing to places like Calhoun that, as Texas reopens, and they're apparently going to hold one. But do we want to walk through the logistics of something?
Go back up. Isn't Lisa Poole right above James Kurth? There's somewhere right up there. I thought I saw Lisa Poole's name. Let me tell you.
Right there.
Okay, so I looked over. So as you folks put in your comments that we love, like good morning, Norm Burgess in Frisco, the screen bounces up one, right? So I was going to read I looked over, saw Lisa Poole. I looked back to see her comment, and it says, my skin is a little pink today. A little bit pink today. I was topless all day yesterday, and I said, okay, I'm not going to say that about Lisa. But it was actually James Kurth.
James Kurth.
It was James Kurth who was out there topless. I thought, man, Lisa, that's a lot of information on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. He says it's going to be hot in Frisco today, 95 degrees. That's the Frisco weather.
Yeah, there you go. Brought to you by you and me.
I used to say that Frisco was kind of a suburb of Dallas, but it's really not. I mean, Frisco is its own entity now.
Dallas is a suburb of Frisco.
Well, with the Dallas Cowboys and all of that going on out there.
Yeah.
Cowboys had a good draft. We've already belabored that. The Cowboys had a good draft.
Phil Barone says they're going to meet again and try to have graduation. They had video conferences with principals and students to come up with new ideas.
It's no big deal. We got that covered. Well, we got that covered.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, if you want a social distance, because they got 500 or 600 graduates every year, right?
Right.
We've got 2 schools and a third with Liberty Academy.
Sure.
You want to, and those kids are packed in between the 30s, if I remember correctly.
We got it figured out.
You got people on the stage. You got 6,000 people sitting behind you in the stands.
Well, by the time you throw in parents, step parents, grandmothers, 6,000 for 500
easily.
kids.
Yeah, okay. Easily. Just the logistics of trying to do it would be a lot.
It would be difficult.
I mean, you're probably having to break it down to 75 to 100 kids per ceremony.
Right.
You certainly can't have all the dignitaries on the stage at the same time, which maybe not a bad thing, to be honest.
No.
Everybody's going to shorten up their speeches because they're not going to want to lose their voice by the time the last ceremony is done at midnight.
Norm, so 175,000 people in Frisco.
Wow.
That's 3 times the size of Victoria. I mean, it's not a little bitty town.
So how do you break it up?
We already talked about this. I mean, folks, this is easy. We go ABC, the ABCs graduate on, say, Monday. Then on Tuesday, DEF. Now, Wednesday, we're going to throw a little curveball at you because we can only do the G's and H's on Wednesday. And there's a reason for that. In the G's and H's, you got the Gonzalez, the Guerra, the Hernandez, the Huertas. That alone will take up Wednesday. Okay, the G and H. And then you can probably do I, J, K, L. Now, when you get to M, you got to do the M&Ms. M&Ms. You got the Martinez, the Nunez. That'll be a smaller group there, and then you can go on out through there. So we can get it done in a week.
The Smiths in here. Smiths probably their own day.
It could be.
J's you might have to worry about. The Johnsons and the Joneses, that might be their own day.
That's right.
So, this thing might extend into about 13 different.
It could.
About half the alphabet. You're probably resulting in about half the alphabet worth of ceremonies to properly. So, and that's just one school.
But on a serious note, you would have to, folks, every day, you would have to blow out the stadium, You'd have to come in and spray everything down with bleaching water or some type of disinfectant. Look, take your diploma and go on.
Well, and then they're sitting on artificial turf.
Retains the virus. Everybody spits on it.
I mean, there's a huge concern about that with football and baseball and making sure it gets clean. So now you're having to disinfect that. You have to take all those chairs up every time to do it.
We're in South Texas. Those high school girls dip in Copenhagen. Next thing you know, there's spittle on the turf.
I guess you could do it inside at the gyms at the schools. I mean, here's the thing. People already get mad when you restrict the number of tickets that they can have for this. How mad are they going to be when everybody gets 2 tickets?
Right. Well,
if that.
We had that happen. It rained at our graduation. We did it inside in the gym, and everybody got 2 tickets, something like that. Look at that. It says they can put all the graduates on the new Frost football field. BJ Nelson's a marketing genius. And then tell everybody to be respectful.
With 1 graduation. Yeah, but you can't social distance the way they put them in there. They're, like we said, we've been through this.
They look like the Longhorn Band. It would cover the entire of those J.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the solutions they come up with. But I think you break it up into small groups. You throw them in the school gyms. That way you can keep. I mean, those gyms hold what, about 1,000 people?
Yeah.
You can make sure for the 100 graduates that are on the floor, or 50 or 75, whatever you decide that number is going to be. And I think to get it through, you're almost having to shorten things up. Your valedictorian, your salutatorian, probably not speaking, because if you speak moistly into the microphone.
This is shaping up to be a pretty good event. No speeches, no dignitaries. You're in and out. Why don't they just have a drive-through graduation? Everybody get an alphabetical order. While you're in the back, wallet out, like you'd have to go refuel. Because you'd be sitting there so long
with the AC running.
Yeah. I just saw
Or you have your valedictorian, salutatorian record their speeches.
We could do it via Zoom. Like Jenny Ayala just checked in. You think they got the Ayalas and the Alvarez? And the next, so we may have to use A's and B's, not A's, B's, and C's.
Chris Jansen, good morning. James Kerr says, don't cough on Grandma while you're there. Grandma won't be allowed to go.
Speaking moistly.
Then you're going to have to take everybody's temperature as they enter.
Yeah, that's
and ask them a bunch of questions. Have you presented any symptoms? Have you felt like this in the last 14 days? Have you had a fever? Have you been coughing? Have you had shortness of breath?
And then they
diarrhea. Have you lost your sense of taste and smell? That's the new one that came out last week of symptoms related to the COVID.
And you say no. They go, well, you're just asymptomatic because you got it. Yeah. You're asymptomatic. Yep. I'll tell you who doesn't have any symptoms, and the food is phenomenal. Veracruz. The reason they don't, they've been very, very cautious, very helpful. You're doing curbside. Pick it up to go. Pick it up. They're still doing drive-through service. Hang on, caller. We'll get to you in a minute. We will talk with you. But you've got a Veracruz to go right now is perfect. We've talked about it for years here. Always a big hit during Little League season. Get you an enchilada casserole. That'll get you through the day. You'll be glad you did. Trust me, Lee and Ida are waiting to serve your family. Razor IT Solutions, John Paul Hall. Yep. He will help you with your analytics. He'll help you understand who and why and from where is checking out your website, Facebook presence, building brands, building organizations, helping your computer software talk to your accountant's software, creating a pay button, encryption walls, you name it. If it's high tech, if you don't understand what I just said, you need to call JP because I don't even know what I just said.
You don't even know what you just said.
Reach out to the Ads and Offer dealership since 1926. I do know this. You can now shop online. You can deal with a salesman. You can chat directly with him online. You can buy a car online without having to ever go to the dealership. But if you go, everyone there is practicing social distancing and wearing their mask. Since 1926, quite simply, Victoria's dealership, the Ads and Offer dealerships are there.
My Lexus is still there. Cheryl said that's a great deal for someone who wants a Lexus.
They're there for $120,000. A beautiful car.
It's got a few years on it, but no miles.
Sounds like me. There's BJ Nelson, 550-1826, White Trash Services. I drove by yesterday and gave them reports. It just drove by. Everything looked buttoned up tight. They are growing. I mean, blowing and going. They've got red trucks. They've got white trucks. They also
Roll-off dumpsters.
Oh, man, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you need one of those right now. Give them a call. There's no burn ban in effect. So the only way you're going to get rid of that big pile of brush would be throw it in a roll-off and let them take it out of
They'll
there.
take it out of there for you.
Might be the way to do it.
Absolutely. And then don't forget to call Compadres Design with all your brand promotion. Whether you need banners, hats, swag, whatever you need, T-shirts.
They can do it all.
They do it all. They wrap buildings. They wrap cars. They are good. Compadres Design Inc., period. Please tell them we sent you. They will take care of you.
J-Dub, check it in.
We have a caller.
Naturally, Paul. Yeah, we do have a caller.
I do apologize.
Well, you caught right during the break. Kevin and Augie, may the fourth be with you as well. Hey, good morning, caller. May the fourth be with you. Well, there's a slight delay. There's that FCC delay on Facebook in case Brent says something that we have to bleep out.
If I said something inappropriate. I understand that. I do. By the way, if you were calling to check on your GED, we'll make sure that we get that to you in the mail.
In exchange for your Bitcoin.
Tell us what's going on. Little Johnny crossed the stage. I like that. See, HR Mallory just sent us one, said, how about 25 to 30 students an hour with 5 family members each at the Performing Arts Center? Well, number one, the fraught problem's there. You got everybody jammed into those seats and everybody's touching it. So the next group coming in is going to have the dirty seats and you can't have that many people sitting next to each other.
That's the problem, is cleaning it and making sure it's hygienic for the next group that comes in. That's where the logistics of this really, in my opinion, come into this.
J-Dub says, if I get out of line and have to beat something, just say sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
There you go. There's my daughter Tyler checking in. But that's, I mean, if we're talking pro sports is going to have to resume with nobody in the stands, how can you have a graduation with anybody in the stands? Seriously. You know, we've kicked everybody out of classes.
Yep.
For safety and fear of contamination. You can't put people into any size facility at this time.
Apparently, the University of Texas and Texas A&M are both saying, hey, we're opening up in the fall with classes.
What they say for now, we'll see what happens. You know what's driving that talk?
Money,
football.
Money.
Yep.
Yeah, they want football.
They need the football. But what are your thoughts, Cody? You got any suggestions? I mean, I like that one. I think that's great. Get New Center 25 involved. You wouldn't have to worry about zooming in, zooming out, as far as, you know, or some sort of app on your phone. Everybody can watch it on TV. There you go. Good idea.
Or you could not watch it and just tell your kid you watched it.
And it's free. You can either watch it over the air or you can watch it on cable. There you go. They could go into the studio and record their speech, and they could just cut them into the broadcast at some point. If they can do Friday football lights at the stadium every Friday, they could put together that.
You think Don Brubaker could put this together?
I'm sure he could.
Hey, I don't want to put you on the spot here. I don't want to put you on the spot here, Cody, but you got any news for us? Some news for us. That's what I wanted to hear. Congratulations, sir.
Your world's going to change forever with this one, sir.
Yeah, because you'll have to go to zone defense. You can't play man-to-man anymore. You'll have to play zone. I'm going to bet it's another boy.
Oh, well, see, your video was misleading. Your fake news. Your video made everybody think you were having a girl.
Right?
You're fake news, Cody Sugar. Well, what do you think that means?
Yeah, it makes us think you're having a little girl. Right. I'm with you.
And if it's not, you're just going to have to keep trying.
3 is it?
Yep.
There you go. Well,
there you go.
That is something. Isn't that crazy? Well, hey, be safe out there today. We always love it when you call. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Cody. Appreciate it, man. And congrats on the baby.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Be well.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Cody.
That's exciting news for them to have another baby.
J-Dub sent us the official Calgary weather. Snowing this morning.
1 degree. I mean, that's just dumb. Nobody wants to be there in May.
That's Celsius.
Still dumb.
That's
0's
that's
freezing.
33, yeah.
Oh, that just means it's slushy.
And a good chance of snow this morning.
J-Dub, come south, man. Come south.
Jonathan Williams checking in.
Bob Constantine.
Bob Constantine, good morning.
You seen Bob's pictures lately on Facebook where he's posting his meals?
I have not.
Oh, he's done lobster, he's done steak, he's done like all kinds of Italian.
He's loving the COVID.
He is something else.
Yeah. So about 100 researchers racing to the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
Some interesting things came out, and it's somewhat related, but what was that? What was the new medicine since hydroxychloroquine turned out to be
Tide Pods.
Yeah.
That
turned out to be not working. So Remdesivir, was that the name of it?
Yes, Remdesivir.
Well, turns out that the federal government kind of flipped some data on, or they played some funny games with the studies going on with that medicine to try to elevate. It seemed to me when I read this last night, the same issues they had with hydroxychloroquine of maybe not preventing deaths or causing more people to die.
Right.
Right? The reason that we can't use it is causing people to die. We've got heart abnormalities, blah, 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 blah. And then when you actually look at it, listening to a researcher who said, well, yeah, in those studies, it's going to happen because they've been doing 1.5 to 2 times the normal dosing amount of hydroxychloroquine in the one up in the old folks home in Seattle or VA or whatever, right? But so basically what they did was they flipped the data sets or the priorities of this study to put on the back seat the deaths that it's not preventing or could be having play a part in with the Remdesivir.
Okay.
So the same issues they had, this is the way I took it, the layman's term. The same issues they had with hydroxychloroquine, they didn't have those same issues with the Remdesivir. In fact, they tried to manipulate the data so that they could get positive outcomes. And the only thing I can think of with that is, well, Remdesivir still has a patent, and the maker of this, can still make a ton of money.
Sure.
Whereas hydroxychloroquine is generic and there's no patent and all that other stuff, right? I don't know. And then you bury this on a Sunday.
Makes you wonder.
It does make you wonder. Well, the federal government, this is National Institutes of Health doing these studies. This one was interesting. The media needs to get more onto this one with the resources to cover it in depth. But I'm telling you, this could be a big story this week. The manipulation of the data on this study and how they're trying, because even the researchers said this is absolutely not the norm when you study medicines and stuff.
Right.
Flipping this data set and putting it on the back burner or lessening the impact of it in your study outcome is not what usually happens in research.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, they'll say, well, these are extraordinary times, and we've got to. So here's one for you, because I'm not saying this is you. I'm just saying this is good. This is like Wade and Carter bringing value, public information. Burnout. Burnout is a trifecta of indicators that arise from chronic work stress, and they risk you disconnecting from your job, your friends, and your interest. The symptoms usually arrive in this order.
okay.
Exhaustion. It's an energy depletion that leaves you struggling to engage in even basic tasks. Dawn says, I have this. Detachment. It's a mental distancing from your job and cynicism about its importance. You can see somebody say, I mean, what does it matter? What does it matter if I do this today or tomorrow? We can't go anywhere.
Yep.
And then inefficiency is a loss of productivity and satisfaction. Well, that's where the government workers are.
That's government to a T. That's been government for 50 years.
That our government is suffering from burnout.
And how timely, because John Hunt just commented, it says up in Manitoba, their weather's about the same as Calgary. And the Manitoba government just reopened restaurant patios. He said, it's May. Nobody sits on a restaurant patio in Manitoba until July.
Yeah, if you want to go sit out there in the freezing cold and the slushy rain.
Exactly.
And good morning, Mr. Houghton. Thanks for calling in and checking in with us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. But man, it's just ridiculous, some of the things that are happening and not happening. I still can't believe that I can't go get a haircut. And I wouldn't anyway, because I'm growing it, that whole story.
You're going the whole deal.
Till hockey returns. But you can't go get a haircut, but you can go sit in a movie theater.
Yeah, that's the lobby. The barber's lobby isn't as strong.
No,
doesn't make the contributions to the governor's coffer that the movie theater does.
And it's not just here. Other countries and other states are doing the exact same goofy thing.
T-Lab points out that I got a haircut. I did, because I sleep with my barber.
There you go.
You have to make extraordinary sacrifices.
You don't pay your barber enough.
During shit. Funny, have you been talking to her? Funny that lately she has said, hey, your haircut, it's going up. It's going to cost a little more.
They already got her Mercedes.
These are troubled times.
Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz?
Kick me to the goalpost of life. I tell you what, folks, today's a great day for you to go pick up some Uncle Mutt's barbecue. Whether you want brisket, it's perfect, moist, perfect brisket. Don't speak moist.
Don't speak moistly with a mouthful of ribs and sauce.
Moist in a sentence. I apologize. Lord, beef the pygmies. Brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, wonderful turkey. Uncle Mutt's
all the sides,
all the side dishes. Uncle Mutt's is doing great work.
The accoutrement just doesn't work so well with sides and barbecue.
Accoutrement is being like a doily,
yeah.
not a biscuit. Yeah. But you'll be glad that you went to Uncle Mutt's today, because they will take care of your family. The great thing is the way they package their food, it's made to be resealed and stored. So you can buy brisket today, buy 3 pounds, take it home, it'll be perfect. You can put the lid back on tomorrow, stick it back in the oven on 250 for a half hour, and it'll be perfect again.
Or use the power level setting on your microwave so it doesn't dry it out when you nuke it for a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing like nuclear brisket.
No, nothing.
Get you some. There's Torn Bales checks in. Good morning, TV.
Gray Barn Design, 920-6803. Give Cheryl a call for as the state starts to reopen. We get our lives back to somewhat normal, and you can now we get to the point where you can have 50 guests. You might want to have a party. You might want to have a wedding.
Norm sporting his
Wade and Carter
shirt today. Norm is an interesting shoot. For those of you that don't know,
can I finish a spot? Then you can go on.
Gray Barn Design, 920-6803. That's 920-6803.
There you go.
Monday, smoking Gray Barn Design.
Cheryl's going to want her money back for that.
That's all she gets. Speaking of the price of service going up, wow, glad I could contribute on that one. Not that you haven't. It's quid pro quo.
Yeah.
But I mean,
not quid pro Joe.
I'm here for you.
What about Norm?
Norm is still, he's the Dallas Cowboys on-field guy. When somebody gets hurt.
Well, he's online now.
Norm's the guy.
Teledoc.
He's the guy that told Emmitt Smith, yeah, that surgery's probably going to need. I mean, that shoulder's probably going to need surgery, but we need you in this game with the Giants. So Emmett went back in. That's kind of how that works. But Norm's been in Frisco for years, and he's 74, and he runs 1 minute for every year of his life, every year. And he finished his 74-minute mile, or 74, no pun intended, finished his 74-minute run on his birthday.
Good for him.
He's great guy. Great.
And you know he trains for that because you can't just once a year decide to go run 74 minutes. Yeah,
he's in great shape.
Yeah,
great guy.
Went electrical, went services,
went generators.
There you go.
There's the ticket now. They're starting to expand in. Picture the natural progression. You've got a generator for when your electricity fails. Now Went is bringing in the solar panel option to go into a Generac, which Generac is their brand of generators. They have complete confidence
American made in Wisconsin.
Generac has battery packs, and it's not as it looks like. You remember the old heater you used to have on a wall that was like 5 feet tall and about a half foot deep? That's what it looks like. It's a battery rack. And the solar panels load the battery rack, kind of like a golf cart, trickle down, right? Yep. And then when the lights go out, the batteries will keep on.
So you don't have to make sure you've got diesel or propane to fire up the generator anymore.
No. And now if it's out for an extended period of time, your generator kicks on, but it's seamless. Boom, boom, boom. You've got constant power. And when I was at it Went, they had panels on the roof of their building.
Yeah.
And at 4:30 in the afternoon, they were getting over a third of the power for their entire business from those solar panels.
Wow.
Yeah, at that time. He said it's usually closer to half.
Must have been a cloud
So
day.
you can pay for your solar panel pretty quick. What is James Kerr saying? Speaking of nuclear.
Who said nuclear?
Yeah, we were talking about nuclear.
Oh, they're having a heck of a time trying to complete the disassembly of the first nuclear aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise. How to deal with the nuclear reactors. They peeled the fuel rods. There's still radiation waste. I've seen a few headlines on this. I haven't really followed this one, so I'm gonna have to read on this one tonight a little bit more.
Take it out there in the middle of the Pacific and you sink it. You go back in 6 years and you'll have grouper the size of submarines with 4 eyes. It'll be awesome.
And the heat coming off that thing will have brought the level of it down. You'll be able to flounder out there.
Easy. It'll be great. In other news, the ice caps have completely melted and LA is underwater. No, I tell you, I think it is a real problem, or it's a real challenge. I just can't imagine, and I'm not being facetious here, the United States government owns more land than anybody else in the country. Why not go out in the middle of, pick one, Arizona,
Nevada,
and just dig a hole and put the stuff in there?
There's a bunch of land running between north-south, between the mountain ranges of Nevada, the Sierra Nevadas, and what other mountains are there?
That would be the Rockies.
Well, and then a few others, I think. There's nothing there. There's a highway running north-south. That's it.
And they would now call that the Glow Road.
Just get rid of one of those highways.
It's never dark.
No.
Thanks to the USS Enterprise.
Just get rid of one. I mean, heck, they used to do the nuclear testing out there.
Right.
I mean, you already probably have radiation in the ground anyway.
Put it in containers and ship it to China.
Put it under there. China, and if you ship it to China, it'll be like all the plastic straws we've been sending them.
Yeah.
They'll be in the water.
Yep.
Yeah. So
they are, we're kind of getting to the point, and this is where the hypocrisy of reality sometimes gets to me. We're all up in arms in this country about go green, go green, go green. And yet each of us daily supports a country that is notoriously apathetic about protecting the environment. The Chinese do not care. The reason their stuff is so cheap is they make it with steel's hard to make here because you got to have a scrubber and you got to do this, you got to do that for the air. They don't do that.
Well, and you got to have people, and you have to have safety standards, and you have to have people watching people so that if something goes wrong, they can hit the emergency stop switch right away.
Over there.
Oh, heck no, not over there.
Wayne Chung died. Get another one.
That's exactly one guy working late at night. Gets eaten by a machine. Nobody finds him until the next day.
He's not just talking about an individual. One guy is a gentleman in China.
So, oh Lord.
One guy.
Got it.
Okay, I'm with
Yeah.
you.
But no, I mean, and here's the thing. We've talked about moving some production to India. India's not a lot better, folks.
No, but at least they seem to like us.
Well, they seem to like us, but safety in India is about as existent as it is in China. Green initiatives and anti-pollution initiatives for their power and their industry about as existent as it is in China.
Right.
So,
But see, we don't talk about that, Ash, because the big companies.
well, because China hasn't screwed, or India hasn't screwed us over yet.
But the big companies capitalize and make money off of that. So they're not talking about how bad India and China pollute. They don't want you to think about that.
No.
But it's kind of silly when you've got a country with a couple of billion people who's a notorious polluter and
human rights violator.
Yeah, to think that the U.S. is going to clean all that up by all of us driving a Tesla is just silly.
I've heard good things about. I'm not a big Michael Moore fan, but I've heard his latest documentary that exposes the hypocrisy of the green power and green energy industries.
Right.
And the reliance on oil and gas to get it done is absolutely mind-blowing, and probably why you haven't heard a lot of it from the mainstream media, because the mainstream media doesn't want, they're all in for green energy and the Green New Deal, right?
It's like we've talked about.
They don't want Michael Moore's new documentary to gain traction because it would put a funk in Al Gore's retirement plan and probably
no doubt
undo every carbon credit tax or a carbon tax that every government wants to impose.
Think about the fact that when you see one of those windmills and you pat yourself on the back and say, that's so great, that windmill, that's saving energy. Do you have any idea how many barrels of oil had to be processed to make the plastic that is in each one of those windmills? It is it'll never, ever, ever pay for itself. It was absolutely a government scam.
And the diesel, because how else do you ship those things but on the back of rail and trucks?
Absolutely. The biggest scam ever on the American public. It's just unbelievable. They will never, ever, ever pay for themselves.
Adam Sugar says, why not Mexico? They could use the jobs and might save some shipping costs.
Then he tries to be witty. He says he doesn't know. How many gallons did it take?
Brent doesn't know either. He's just asking the question.
A lot. Yes.
Somewhat rhetorical.
Inquiring minds want to know. The Sugar brothers, both in on the same show. Now, I wonder if Adam will take that as a challenge and try to throw down another kid himself.
No.
Is his brother in the lead?
Yeah, I think so. Randy Langston says, hey, just like we could drill here like the Saudis, but the number of pump jacks everywhere look a little tacky.
Right. That's what you need, is a pump jack underneath every one of those windmills to essentially
run it.
Pay for it.
Put it in Pelosi's backyard. There you go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the thing?
We didn't talk about this. This is kind of cool. Today, first time ever, Supreme Court's going to meet. Picture it via Zoom.
Okay.
They're going to do a conference call. They're going to hear cases. They have not been back together since COVID.
I've looked at the Supreme Court pictures. Aren't they social distancing when they're up on the bench already?
Pretty much. My comment to you was, if I'm the president of the United States, I want a monitor on them. I want to see a heartbeat all the time, because we're getting to the point now where we can do like virtual Ruth Ginsburg. She may not even be alive. They just put a picture up there. She doesn't move. She's emotionless anyway. She just sits there. It's just a picture of her. But they claim that she's in the meeting.
Hands like this, posed on the bench.
The little white collar. You can see her in the black robe. Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Do the makeup just right so everybody can comment, oh, she looks so good.
She looks so natural. Is she in a prone position? Yeah. I think best on my back. She's asleep. You got to wonder, though, they're going to do telephone only, Steve.
No, Zoom, telephone only. Or he just doesn't want to. No, he says, but you can listen in. You think that's to appease Ruth Bader Ginsburg? She's so old and doesn't understand the technology.
Yeah. Oh,
that's why there's no Zoom, just telephone.
Can you imagine if she went off in like a profanity laced tirade. I can't get this to work, and it's on. Justice of the Supreme Court.
Why wouldn't? What?
Betty White does the voicing. It sounds like something off The Simpsons.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they zoom it?
She sounds like the mother on the Peanuts series. Wow, 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 wow. And that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Lisa Poole said she heard Ginsburg died a while back.
See, we did
too. Didn't I call it with Kim Jong-un?
Yeah,
apparently resurfaced this weekend.
He was playing golf.
He was just hanging out.
He shot 18.
He was avoiding the COVID.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they don't want you to know that because, look, folks, with no humor, if Ruth Bader Ginsburg croaks, then Trump gets to put another Supreme Court.
Yeah, but I don't know that he's been happy with the ones he's put on there.
And you know what? That makes me happy. It lets me know that those guys are voting their conscience. I think they've both done great. Kavanaugh and what's the other guy's name? Gorsuch. I think Gorsuch has done great work.
So,
of course, I have no idea what he's done, but I think he's done great work. I just feel like saying that we have so many Canadian listeners. I like to look like a really informed American. Oh, yeah. Neil Gorsuch. Yeah. He's a good one.
Gorsey and I, we go way back.
Me and the Gorse, the old G-man. Sure, we're tight. We used to go to Brett Kavanaugh's place and drink beer.
Have a cater.
American beer. I like beer. I like American beer. You know, what's his name? Jason Bourne, the actor.
Matt Damon.
Thank you. Matt Damon does a great Brett Kavanaugh. If Brett Kavanaugh could sit and talk to Donald Trump, if you could get Matt Damon to do work with Alec Baldwin, it would be phenomenal. It would be
pretty good.
Hilarious. Yeah.
We got to get out of here, folks.
It's time.
Ralph